Christmas, all, and welcome to another episode of Laser Show. Happy holiday season to you and yours, especially if you're a good Christian who celebrates Christmas. Happy holidays to, everybody, no matter your creed. But definitely if you're a Christian, you're definitely more likely, I would think, to go to heaven. Definitely all the other ones are going to hell. And nothing against you guys, but it will be a fiery, burning, eternal damnation for you. But welcome to another episode of Laser Show. The episode number I cannot remember right now. I'm going to look it up. This is episode 15. Welcome to episode 15 of Laser Show. Just got back to LA after just about the longest damn run of shows I've ever done. Maybe second only to that little California run there, but holy hell. The Boy with No Brain tour, folks, it's over. It's finally over. My biggest stand-up comedy undertaking. A 3-month-long, grueling marathon separated into chunks. And today I'm going to be talking about the first half of the third chunk. Hey, is it cool if I talk about the first half of the third chunk? Essentially, it's like the fourth chunk of The Boy with No Brain Tour. Hence, that's why this episode is called The Boy with No Brain Tour Part 4. A lot of Midwest type shit. Oh, first of all, I had to cancel some shows. And allow me to apologize again for having to cancel 3 shows in Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, and Davenport. And I'm not supposed to say, I guess, what show that I was filming, but I already said it on the last episode, and it was only 3 lines, so I don't think it's a big deal. But, refer back to another previous episode or whatever. I guess I'm not supposed to say it, but who gives a shit, truly. But anyway, I had to cancel those 3 shows, so chunk number 4 of The Boy with No Brain tour, as I sit here talking to you on a pitter-pattery, rainy Los Angeles night. If you listen close, maybe you can hear the pitter-patter. Let me just shut the fuck up for a second. So, what do you guys think? Did you hear the pitter-patter? Smash that like button if you heard the pitter-patter. And if you didn't hear the pitter-patter, maybe go get your ears checked, buddy, because it's coming down out there in droves. So this chunk number 4 started, after those 3 canceled shows, started in Mahomet, Illinois. That's right, I said Mahomet, Illinois. It would come right after Mahomes in the dictionary. It's quite literally the word Mahomes, like Patrick, but with a T instead of an S. It's called Mahomet. It's right outside of Champaign, Illinois. Perhaps you know it. And it was basically in like an art studio, I guess. It was this building that was separated into 2 halves. It was in like a strip mall. 2 halves. One half is kind of like a gift shop type thing. A lot of knickknacks and tchotchkes and things. And then the other half is an open space where they have some events. And they've been doing comedy shows. And they have art on the wall. They do like paint stuff there. They had a chandelier made of like paint, the wooden sticks that you stir paint with. Stupid stuff like that. And the curtain behind the stage was like an old, like a canvas and was covered in paint. We put it over a table and paint on it. So it was like a paint place, I would say. And the show was great. There was maybe like 70-something people, I think he said. I might be making that up. I think he said like 74 people. And it was like a pretty small space. So it was like packed front to back, and the crowd was awesome. And I met some great people at this show. Oh, by the way, one of the people I met at this show, I have to apologize and correct myself. I talked about her in a previous episode, and she came to two back-to-back shows in St. Charles, Missouri. And she had my water bottle, a Ryan O'Flanagan water bottle, and I had to shout her out as one of my top fans, and I think I called her like Christine or something. Her name's Caitlin. And I wanted to apologize to Caitlin because, and also, by the way, Caitlin listens to this podcast. Hey, Caitlin. And she knows that I collect Faberge eggs and heard me say, hey, come bring me a Faberge egg on tour if you want. I'm starting to collect Faberge eggs. Well, guess what Caitlin brought me to the show in Muhammad? A beautiful black and white Faberge egg. Immediately one of my top Faberge eggs. I really like this Faberge egg. I'm looking at it right now. I will include a picture of it when I post this on Instagram. I'll show you the Faberge egg. So thank you, Caitlin, for the Faberge egg. And if you're listening to this and you're coming to see me on tour, feel free to bring me a Faberge egg. I would love to start a collection. And a lot of them are just from people that listen to my podcast. So I reckon it probably won't be a lot. If every single one of you gave me a Faberge egg, I could fit them on a pretty small shelf. But thank you, Caitlin. And then I met some other people. I met a couple that it was their surprise date night. Every week they switch off. One of them will choose a surprise date spot. And so the man chose this show as the surprise date spot, brought his wife, and they've been doing that for years and years and years. Every single week, they switch off and do a surprise date. Isn't that something? If you're lucky enough to have love in this unforgiving, cruel, cold, fucked up world, you do a damn surprise date night once a week, why don't you? I thought that was really sweet. And so I met those people, and then I met this woman who was wearing an "Are You Joking My Ass" t-shirt that I used to have "Are You Joking My Ass" t-shirts, and I might still in the future. I'm trying to still waiting to hear back from this merch girl. Hope she hasn't passed away or anything. Guess I should check on her and make sure she hasn't passed away. But they were they were on Amazon, and they were through this. Some guy that Funny or Die hooked me up with, and they were on sale. I never saw a damn penny of any of the sales I made, through Funny or Die for my merch. Not their fault. Definitely, I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really care. Also, someone in Reno has started selling Remo Sriracha stickers for $4 a pop. I wonder if I'm supposed to have way more money than I currently have, and I'm just not pursuing it. People are making stickers and using my catchphrase. I did comment on the Instagram post. I said, "What the hell? Can I get a cut of this?" And she hit me up and was like, "I'm sorry. Do you want a cut of this?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm just kidding." Hey, you keep it, buddy. But anyway, then after so I used to have these "Are You Joking My Ass" shirts and dinosaur shirts. A couple times people have come to a show and been wearing one, and I mean literally a couple times. I think that might actually have been just the second time. Once it happened in Michigan. Maybe it was the same person. Honestly, couldn't tell you. But yeah, that was cool to see. More merch coming, God willing, if this woman's still alive. And but it was cool to see an old "Are You Joking My Ass" t-shirt in Muhammad, Illinois. This is why you just never know. You never know where your fans are. And then after the show, we went to a bar called It'll Do, and it was so aptly named. It'll Do, that place. It was fine. Played some. I won $3 on a slot machine, and then they had a big American flag in the back, like a painting of an American flag or a picture of an American flag, and it had a bunch of signatures on it. So me and the other comic, and we signed it, then realized after that it was for veterans. But so you're welcome for your service. And then the next day was a Sunday show in Madison, Wisconsin on a Sunday night when the Packers were playing on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs and beating the reigning world champion Chiefs. So, needless to say, it was tough to get people out, but it was probably 25, 30 people. My buddy Devin Blake opened, and I was like, do whatever you want, and he did. He was going around the crowd. He was sitting on people's laps. He was really making the experience his own. Really, really unlocked that crowd on that cold Wisconsin night. The show was unremarkable. I did fine. But then after the show, listen to this shit. This might be the craziest thing that happened to me on this whole trip. So the bar was kind of far away from where all like the hub of activity in Madison. My hotel was more of like the, I guess, downtown. I don't know what you call it. But I went back to my hotel after the show, and then the night was still pretty early, and my hotel was kind of near a bunch of bars, so I walked to this bar. It was like it ended up being like this college bar. I walked down this street that like one guy in my hotel told me to go to a bar that he recommended. Went, and it looked lame as hell. I was like, I need a hub of activity. And I went to this hub of activity. I found this bar. People were playing like Papa Shot. They had cool stuff, but it was like a college bar. Everyone in there was like 21 years old, except for this one man who's like in his 50s, maybe 60s. He's black. He could have been 150, but he was sitting at the bar by himself. And the bartender, this is like as soon as I walked in, the bartender was telling him like, "Sorry, man," and the guy looked all dejected. And I sat down next to him. I was drunk from the show, and I'm too damn friendly when I'm drunk. I just can't stop buying people drinks and then offering people Ubers like I did for this guy. I couldn't tell if he was homeless. I thought he was pretty much homeless. God, I wish I could remember his name. It was such a weird name. It was like a nickname, but it was something. I wish I had written it down. You fucking idiot, Ryan. But I was like, "You need a ride home?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You live in Madison, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'll get you a lift, dude." And he gives me an address. And, God, it was like $24. I was like, fuck, I thought Madison was such a damn small town. But I was like, all right, I'll get you a lift. And I'll, if nothing else, then to help the vibes in this bar. You're killing the vibes, dude. This fucking old homeless guy sitting at the bar with all these college kids. But I was like, get out of here, dude. I brought him outside, found the Lyft driver, and this guy, he goes off he's like, I gotta piss. And I was like, all right, yeah, go pee in an alley or something. He goes, I know this place. I know this city. And he went and he just peed like on a wall and with like a bunch of people walking around. Madison's very much like a college town, and it's all fucking super young people walking around the street, and this guy is just openly pissing like on the side of a building. Didn't really find much of an alley. It was just kind of the side of a building. And the lift pulls up, and I open the door to the lift, and I go, hey, man, I'm Ryan. I'm not getting this lift. I'm just getting this guy a ride home. It's that guy right there that's peeing on that wall. And he was just straight up peeing on the wall. And I thought this guy was going to be mad at me. Or at least just like annoyed. But he was a super nice guy. But then he goes, oh, okay, I got you. I understand. Then he goes, are you a comedian? And I was like, oh, fuck, dude. I just got recognized in Madison, dog. I go, yeah, you know me? And he goes, no, I'm a medium. And I said, you're a medium? I've never met a medium. And then he goes, who's your uncle who died? And I have an uncle who died of COVID in 2020, and I think about him all the time. And I was just thinking about him that day, I think. And he goes, who's your uncle who died? And I go, dude, I had an uncle who died a couple of years ago. And he goes, he's really proud of you. You're making him laugh. Oh, God. I said, what the fuck, dude? I got this guy's number. I got his card. I was like, let's be in touch. And I was like, that seems like a pretty tough thing to guess. But I don't know. I guess you could. I don't know. I kind of believe that there's something to it. I don't know. I don't really get it. But I do believe there's psychics and mediums. They are able to do some true things. But anyway, so I went back to the bar with all these kids playing Papa Shot. And I sat by myself at this table in the back, and I was just crying, dude. I was just crying, thinking about Uncle Ray. And then this guy starts texting me, and he's like, there's another voice up here, and it's like a comedic voice, a friend of yours. I don't know if any of you watched my sketch group, Dead Kevin. We had a member that passed away also in 2020, Richard. So I was like, fuck, is it Richard? And he was like, I think so. And then he's got like Richard, and he's like, whoever it is, he's loud, and he's a goofball. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if Richard was that loud. And he goes, he's making fun of your old haircut. I was like, well, whoever it is can fuck off. Cause sorry, he goes, something about pubes. It looks like pubes. I'm like, what is happening, dude? Are you just looking at old pictures of me? Cause I gave you my name. Or is someone up in heaven making fun of my old haircut saying it looked like pubes? And is it you, Richard? You fucking pipsqueak? I don't know, maybe it is Richard. So I don't know. It was such a bizarre experience. We were texting a bunch, and then he started. He listens to my podcast now. What up, Scott? Guys, go see Scott in Madison, dude. If you're in Madison and you get a lift from Scott, fucking get excited. He's about to read your mind and look into your past and your future and heaven and hell. So, by the way, there's a heaven. There's an afterlife. Isn't that exciting? I learned that on this trip. There is an afterlife, baby. And my uncle and Richard are hanging out. So that was truly something. The next day was a Monday show in Elkhart, Indiana. Elkhart, Indiana is a little town in northern Indiana. And it's pretty small. And the show, up until, by the way, it was a bar that I reached out to on Instagram. And they responded right away and said, yeah, I know you, actually. I watched your videos, and would love to have you at the bar. This bar is not open on Mondays. They opened their doors just for me to do a Monday show, and maybe in the 30s amount of people came out. And up to this point, I would say it was probably my favorite show of the whole tour. I guess maybe the whole tour. It was so fun. The crowd was so fun, and they loved my ass. They were laughing at everything I was saying. Had doubled over, and it's not, my jokes aren't that funny. I know the amount of laughter that's appropriate for these jokes. These people were giving me way, way more than the joke deserved, and they had such a great time in Mahomet, Illinois, and the next place was called 5-Star Dive Bar. Hey, check it out if you're in Elkhart, Indiana, if you ever make it to the Elk. I'd ask the guy, I was like, is it Elkhart or Elkert? And he was like, it's fucking Elkhart, dude. Don't say Elkert. Stayed at a lovely hotel. The next day went to breakfast with the guys who put the show together. Oh, wait, no. I mean, yes, that is true, but I can't glance over this story. So after the show, this guy comes up to me, shows me, he's friends with the owner who put the show together, who I talked to on Instagram, and he goes, you're not going to believe this, but this is a cameo you made for me to send to him, the owner, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and here it is, and he shows me the cameo, and it's me, and I'm doing the overly excited tourist, and the guy, and I'm like, hey, Justin, or Jason, are you joking my ass, blah, 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 happy birthday, whatever it is, get out of my ass. And then at the end, so he mentioned in the description that he owned a bar in Elkhart, Indiana. I don't remember this at all. But at the end of my video, I'm doing the tourist, and then I take my glasses off, and I go, by the way, I would love to, if you do shows at your venue, 5-Star Dive Bar, I would love to come sometime and perform. I said that in a cameo to him. Must have been 5 years ago, because I was doing the cameo in my old apartment, and I've been in this apartment for 4 years. 4.5 years. So yeah, it's 5 years ago. And I don't remember that, and I asked if, hey man, please. I do occasionally do that. Hey, if it's the cameo is for a venue, I go, hey, by the way, I'd love to come perform. And it's never worked out. Until this. And by the way, I got this show because I reached out to this dude on Instagram. He never mentioned that I years ago actually asked to do that venue, and he never reached out to do the venue. Interesting. It took me asking directly to the venue's Instagram page. But that was pretty wild. Woke up, had breakfast with those guys. Everyone knows everyone kind of town. Everyone's coming into this diner, and everyone knows everyone, and they all have poker nights. And then it's snowing. It's my first snow in a long, long time. It snows as I drive up to Grand Rapids, Michigan, to see my old friend Beth. My old friend Beth used to own a bar in Santa Monica, California, called The Commons. My friend Jack worked there from Dead Kevin's Sketch. He's the editor for Dead Kevin's Sketch. And my friend Ben Blanchard. They used to work there, and she'd run comedy shows there, and then she moved the whole operation to Grand Rapids. And so I hit her up. I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Elkhart, Indiana. So that's only a few hours from from Grand Rapids, can I come up and do a show? And I went up and I did the show. She was like, absolutely. Made a ticketed event on a Tuesday night. Guess what? Commons Bar, Grand Rapids, also not open on Tuesday nights. Just like Five Star Dive Bar wasn't open on Monday nights. She opened her doors just for me and to do the show. And a couple of other great comics. They were a little too good. They did better than me. And I hate when that happens, but hey, nothing but respect to you. More power to them. And then I ran out of koozies at this. I sold 4 shows up to this point. I brought 80 koozies that were supposed to last. I ran out of koozies. 80 koozies in 4 shows. Damn proud of myself. But now I got no koozies and I don't know what to do. So luckily, I have a neighbor and I have a key under the mat. Hey, I have a key under my mat at all times. And I also, if you need like my password for anything, let me know. But I text my neighbor and say, hey, emergency, I need you in the morning. I didn't say I need you. I said, could you please, in the morning, go into my apartment. I go into her apartment a lot too. I water her plants when she's out of town. So we have access to each other's apartments. I say, can you go into my apartment first thing in the morning, tomorrow morning, and get like 60 koozies and like ship them to me overnight to this address? And she did it. Shipped them to me in Omaha. But anyway, the show was great. And then I went to a gas station in Grand Rapids before I went back to my hotel. And it was like, I was like, oh, maybe there's a bar over here I could pop into. Because there's so many people milling about in the street by like the gas station. I'm like, oh, the gas station's next to a club. The street is packed with people. And then I pull up and they're all just wandering around homeless people. The most amount I think I've ever seen. All this one gas station walking in different directions like The Walking Dead. Not to disparage them too much, but it was very zombie-like. They're all walking around, and of course I'm filling up my gas, and a guy comes up, and he's like, got any money? And I was like, nah, dude, I got no cash. That was a lie. I had just sold out of koozies. I was overflowing flush with cash, but I didn't feel like giving him any fucking cash. But I said, I can buy you something in there, and he's like, nah, I don't need that. I just need cash for like a bus. And I was like, oh, sorry. And then he goes, how about some cigarettes though? And I was like, you want some cigarettes? I'll go in there and buy some cigarettes. I needed to go in and buy like a water anyway. So I went in and just bought this guy fucking cigarettes. And then I come out and I hand him the cigarettes. And but before I did that, I took 2 cigarettes for myself. Naughty little, nasty little bitch, aren't I? I took a couple for myself for the road, for the stresses of the road, you know. Or maybe if I have a hotel with like a nice balcony, I always want to use it. But I don't really smoke cigarettes. And I'm like, I don't need a whole balcony to smoke weed. I'll just smoke in the bathroom and blow the smoke into the toilet and flush it. But I took a couple cigarettes, then I'm walking to my car, and then another homeless guy is walking towards me, and he goes, hey, you got a cigarette? I go, nah, I just gave that guy a bunch of cigarettes. Go ask him. And he goes, and I'm clearly holding 2 cigarettes, and he goes, but do you have a cigarette? And I was like, yeah. And I gave him a cigarette. I'm such a fucking bitch. I was driving the whole way home, and honestly, some of the next morning, driving around being like, why'd you give that guy a fucking cigarette? I should have been like, dude, I just gave that guy a whole pack of cigarettes. Take it up with him. And he goes, do you have cigarettes? And I you know what I wanted to say in my head the next day? Yeah, I got 2, and they're for me. Yeah, I told him the next day. To myself in my car. So, then, day off, just a full driving day. Sometimes if I have like a long ways to go, I'll just take a day off and make it just a whole driving day, like 8 hours of driving. Did that, drove about 8 hours to West Des Moines, got dinner at a Cracker Barrel, and I signed up for Cracker Barrel rewards. So my life is about to turn around. I'm about to be fucking rich. And then the next day I do a show in Omaha. Now listen to this. I get there, there's no one there. I pull into the parking lot, I look inside from my car, I go, fuck, there ain't nobody in there. Hopefully they have a back room or something. Because it's Omaha, it's not a small town, it's like a real city. It's a Thursday night. I walk in, no one in there. Just a couple of people. The guy says, guy running things, he's also bartending. He's like, we got 7 tickets sold. I go, 7? Yikes! Very brightly lit bar. It ended up being Um, 9 people. We got 9 people total. Could not break double digits, but I will say it was a very poorly put together show. The 9 people that were there were awesome. They made it feel like they were laughing at stuff and made it feel like a show as much as it can be a show. But it was a disaster how it was set up. No other comics. There was no other comics. No other comics were booked. The guy putting it together, he didn't know. And I didn't know that he didn't know that you're supposed to like ask other comics or ask me if I'm bringing another comic. But it just, that didn't get communicated. So I was like, there's no other comics? He's like, there's no other comics. I go, fuck, well, I gotta do as much time as I can then. And I did an hour and 10 minutes. I put these people through an hour and 10 minutes of my comedy. Not all my comedy. There was another guy. I said, if anyone wants to come up and do a joke. And this guy, Paul, got up and he did a joke. And it was about like bombing in Gaza. It was an ill-timed joke. And then I did an hour and like 8 minutes in Omaha. And it was brightly lit sports bar. They left all the TVs on behind me. The TVs lining the wall. Just bright sports TVs playing sports. How can you listen to a damn thing that I'm saying? But what can you do? But the guy who came up and did the joke, his name was Paul. And Paul is a fan of mine because he saw me open for Dimitri Martin in Monterey, California when he used to live in Monterey, California. And he just became a fan ever since. He's been following me ever since because I did so good opening for Dimitri. And then he just moved to Omaha for a cheaper life. And he was excited to see me come to town, and I hung out with Paul, went to a bar after called Page Turners, a book-themed bar. Cool. And also I was newly flush with coozies. Thank you again to my neighbor Alexis. And there's a couple other fans. Ellis came out. Ellis was a big fan. Hung out with Ellis. And in Omaha, had a nice little night in Omaha. And then I was supposed to go to Des Moines after that, but of course, as you all clearly know, I got replaced with a karaoke night. So I went up to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Man, I love South Dakota. There's a lot of cool shit in South Dakota. That's now like 4 or 5 things in South Dakota that I thought were really cool. Sioux Falls was great. It was fun. They got these cool, goddamn, what's the name of the rock? I forget the name of the rock, but there's these cool rock formations that are, a river carved through in a glacier and shit back in the day. So it's just like a cool town, a cool looking town with some. It was freezing as hell, and the show was at a straight up like a real dive bar. Well, they serve food, but it's a dive restaurant, I suppose. And I was super grateful. They just like let me do this show. I was just reaching out to venues that I could drive to from Omaha. And this place reached out, Windy City Bites. And there was a table of 3 girls that were actually there because they knew who I was. I think that's it. As far as people that like showing up because they knew me from before, not just like seeing a flyer for a comedy show. I think those were the only 3, but it was a pretty small crowd, maybe like 20 people. But they were cool. They were just happy to have comedy in Sioux Falls. Had the worst sandwich of my life at a place called Bread and Sandwich. Yeah, cool name for your sandwich place, Bread and Sandwich. I got a really gross chicken sandwich. And then after the show, I went to a place called Pave. It was, the opening, one of the opening comics brought me to, I was like, let's hang after. He's like, what do you want? Do you like to dance? I was like, yeah, I like to dance. We went to this fucking huge dance place. It was awesome. It was called Pave. It's right on the main street they have there. They have a main street. I forget what it's called. But Pave is like the big club. There's a huge upstairs. You can do whatever you want at Pave. It's chill downstairs, dancing upstairs. Had so much fun. Me and this dude, Kevin, we danced a little bit. Mostly we did not dance, but like a few people from that show came out with us. It was really cool. And they have a cocktail menu or a Long Island menu, different types of Long Islands. And they're all $3 all night, just different flavors of Long Island. I'll put a picture of that on my Instagram post. I got hammered and I lost my credit card. Never did find it, but I just realized today that it got charged like 15 times at Pave. So I reached out to American Express and they took care of it and they've already refunded me. And they also said they make sure to always try to arrest the person that that committed this fraud. So I hope they don't arrest me and I was just blacked out and those were all my purchases, because I can't promise that all those purchases weren't just me really drunk. But I'm pretty sure I only bought like a couple of rounds. I was already pretty drunk from the last bar. I think and then other people were also buying drinks. So I think maybe 2 or 3 times. But it certainly wasn't like 15 times. Or maybe it was. We'll have to check the tape, won't we? Either way, American Express gave me that money back. So hell yeah, free night on American Express in Sioux Falls. Then I went to Lincoln, and guess who came to Lincoln? Not only Ellis again came to both Omaha and Lincoln. Same exact jokes, thank you, Ellis. But guess who? If you listen to part 1 of the Boy with No Brain tour of my podcast, those shows in Mocan, in Missouri and Kansas, Peculiar, Missouri, Nevada, Missouri. Remember that fun run? That was a fun podcast episode. And all those shows were put together by my friends Dave and Amanda. Dave and Amanda came to Lincoln. It was, talk about us, hey, wow, full circle from the beginning of this episode. This was a surprise date night. Dave said, "Get in my car, bitch, you idiot bitch." And he threw her in his car violently. And he said, "We're going on a date, and I'm not telling you where." They drove 3 hours from Peculiar, Missouri, the city of which Dave Hayes is running for mayor, and I endorse him, and I'll share his token that he makes now. I'll share that. Vote for Dave Hayes in April 2024 for mayor of Peculiar, Missouri. He drove her ass 3 hours to come see me, and she didn't know what the hell was going on till she walked into the bar, went into the bathroom, and they have pictures of, flyers for the show in the bathroom, and then she saw my face and goes, "What the hell?" Comes out of the bathroom and goes, "Dave, what the motherfuck?" He goes, "Yep, we're here to see Rye." I didn't know that either till I walked in. I see Dave and Amanda. Wow. Amanda still has my sunglasses that I gave her. She couldn't get over the fact that I wear green sunglasses. And I found cool sunglasses on that trip, and I just gave her my green sunglasses. And she was wearing them on top of her head, on top of her hat, not knowing that she was even going to see me. So she wears my green sunglasses all the time. Yeah, green sunglasses are cool. And then there was a guy there who was making authentic Philly cheesesteaks in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I got one. No one was buying the food. I felt bad. And they also gave it to me for free. So I also didn't buy the food. But I gave him a nice tip. And they were like, "Thank you." And I was like, "You're welcome." But no one else really bought food except for Dave and Amanda. They didn't do well, and I felt bad. But it was authentic Philly cheesesteaks. But I had one before the show. No one's really. I felt bad. My crowd's not a big authentic Philly cheesesteak right before my set kind of crowd. So no one was really buying the food. People just know they're gonna bust a gut laughing at my jokes. They don't want to eat an authentic Philly cheesesteak before the show. I didn't find it to be too authentic, but what do I know? I'm not from Philly. But I've had cheesesteaks in Philly with my friend Tony, who says this podcast is too depressing and owns 2 homes. I assume a guy with 2 homes is getting me a pretty authentic Philly cheesesteak. You know what I'm talking about? Tony, 2 homes. So I assume that's what a Philly cheesesteak was supposed to look like. And I will include the picture of the cheesesteak I got in Lincoln, Nebraska. Wow, it looked like poop. And then, so that was the end of that run. Then I went home for 3 days. See my family. So that's after that was the final chunk, and I'll talk about that in the next episode. So that was part 4 of the Boy with No Brain tour. Hope that was fun to listen to amidst the pitter patter here. Happy holidays. Do accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Those guys dancing in the street with the signs that say Jesus is God and Jesus saves, they wouldn't just lie to you. There's got to be something to it. But happy holidays. I'll see you right back here in probably like a week or so for episode 16. All right, see you later.